Hi folks, you're watching Ditto Insurance. We are an insurance advisory platform and we are backed by Zerodha. We have 10,000 plus reviews on Google and we are rated 4.9 over 5. We provide quality health and term insurance advice. So if you would like to know the best plan for you or your family, then please consider booking a free chat with us with the link in the description. With the introduction out of the way, let me tell you the reason why we are here today. A lot of you have asked us to review a couple of claim stories that we have dealt here at Ditto. So there was a very special case that happened a couple of weeks back, and to talk about the same, I have with me today the co-founder of Finshots and Ditto, Mr. Shrehith. Shrehith, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Shashank. I mean, I've been sort of meaning to come on the podcast as well. It's been a while since I've I've made an appearance, so I thought this could be a good opportunity for me to discuss a case because I was personally involved in it, right? So yeah.
Right. Because I think it started from a LinkedIn post, and then I
Yeah.
see everyone involved, everyone running around, around this case.
Yeah.
So I was like, we need to know this,
Right.
what happened. So give us a bird's eye view. Let's get into the details of what happened here.
Right. So before I discuss the case, I mean, I'll tell you how claims process generally works at Ditto, right? So whenever a claim is made, generally, I mean, even if you call in the claims hotline number sometimes, you'll see that everybody is involved, right? So we have our executives involved. There are claim experts. There, the VP, the vice presidents of both health and term insurance divisions. They're involved, and the founders as well, right? So oftentimes we personally intervene in cases where we feel like a resolution requires such intervention, right? And every time there's a legitimate case, and by legitimate I mean any case where we feel that the client is on the right, and there's a very good chance that we can overturn the decision. We try and do everything possible, right? Everyone wants to get involved and try and see if we can get this in favor of the customer, right? Get the decision done in favor of the customer. And yeah, and this began with the LinkedIn post, by the way. And I think we were talking about a specific claim related matter, where the details about the case was somewhat related to insurance companies requiring some document. And then we had a customer reach out in the comment section saying that they're dealing with something very similar. Now, at that point in time, I didn't think too much of the case. I realized that maybe we could have one of our experts connect with the individual and sort this case out as soon as possible. But when the details started emerging, I realized that there are some complications. So I lay down the details. So in this case, what had happened was the case facts were this. The individual had been in an accident, right? I think it was a motorcycle accident. Maybe this individual was in a passenger vehicle, not entirely sure of the exact specifics, but there was an accident involved. And on the day of the accident, they visited a hospital. And during the course of, preliminary inquiry by the doctor, etc., trying to see if there's anything wrong, they find out that, the patient is okay. Yes, there were some scuffs and bruises, but nothing that required urgent medical attention. Right. So there was no hospitalization, and insurance companies only pay out claims when there is a hospitalization, when there's a diagnosis, when there's medical intervention, etc. So that was that. And then I think a couple of weeks later, the customer realized that they had some problem with their knee. Right. I think they had difficulty walking, difficulty sitting down, and I think that prompted them to visit another doctor, another hospital, where they got a MRI done, if I'm not wrong, right? So they got some scans done, and during the course of these scans, they realized that they had an ACL tear, right? So it is a tear in one of the ligaments in the knee. 9 times out of 10, such cases are very straightforward. The insurance company immediately pays out because it is an accident. In insurance contract, there's a specific clause that states that accidents are covered from day one.
Correct.
So whatever happened during the course of an accident will be covered from day one, and you don't have to worry about it. So this claim shouldn't have been denied on any grounds, and it wasn't denied also, right?
Okay.
It's just that when the patient decided to admit themselves into a hospital to get the surgery done, the cashless claim did not go through because of a very peculiar request.
Okay.
So in this case, usually in cases of accident, right, whenever it comes to things like ACL tears, etc., there is a waiting period. There's a 2-year waiting period called the specific illness waiting period, and it applies to ACL surgeries. However, it does not apply in case of accidents. So what a lot of customers do in some cases to get advantage of the situation is that they may have ACL injuries, they buy a policy, wait for 4 or 5 months and make a claim, and then they say, oh look, it happened recently during an accident.
Yeah.
Right, I was playing, I fell down and it was an accident, so you cover my case. So insurance companies are very skeptical of immediately approving the claim because they want to investigate the matter whether the accident happened. However, in this case, the nature of the accident was unequivocally, I mean, that was not up for debate, because when the patient had originally gone to the treating doctor in the emergency ward, the doctor had furnished a MLC report, a medico-legal case report, right?
Okay.
Which stated the nature of the details. The police station was informed, intimated, because it was an accident, and if there is a complainant, etc., that may lead to more complications. However, after filing the MLC report, everything was sorted, right? So accident happened. There is absolutely no doubt that there was an accident, and it is vetted by the appropriate authorities also. The question then becomes, okay, fine. Was this person drunk during the accident?
Okay.
That was the point of contention. The insurance company now comes and says that, look, I know the surgery is scheduled for tomorrow, but if you want me to approve the cashless claim, were they drunk?
Is this normal for insurers to ask this in every case of accidents if the person was drunk?
Yes, in cases of road accidents, especially, this question does come up, because if the passenger were intoxicated and if there is proof that their blood alcohol limits were above a certain threshold, insurance companies can deny paying out the claim, because now they're saying the customer put himself in harm's way.
Right.
So they have some grounds to debate the claim. Although I've seen insurance companies take both views. Some cases they approve the claim even if the customer is to blame. But in some cases they can throw up a mighty defense also. And we've seen this happen in the past. So now they wanted the customer to furnish a report stating that they were not intoxicated during the time of the accident. Now, who can produce this report? The original treating doctor.
First doctor, yeah.
And usually in such cases, we've seen these requirements, and we've seen how these hospitals, doctors, etc., treat this also. They, if you ask them for a certificate, they have no qualms about producing such a certificate. However, there is an argument to be made that they do not have to produce this certificate.
Right.
I mean, technically it is not in their ambit. So in this case, what happened was the treating doctor stood their ground. They said, why should I produce such a certificate? I did not test for blood alcohol limits. And they were saying that, look, there was no indication that the person was intoxicated, but we didn't do any tests to that extent, right? And also, even though in my impression, the person was not intoxicated, I cannot produce a report right now because the accident happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, time limit is passed.
Correct.
Now, yeah.
For them, what is the point of me producing a certificate after 14 days saying that he was not intoxicated? It doesn't, you get what I'm saying. It doesn't say anything. It's merely a procedural requirement that you've put on me now, and I do not want to entertain such requests.
Understood.
This was the point of contention. And the challenge for us was that the surgery was scheduled, I think, the next day or the day after.
Okay.
So either we had to get the report from the treating doctor, because the insurance company was like, look, in the absence of this report, I will not approve the claim. This is part of my requirement list. They're simply following their procedure, right? Somebody is sitting there and thinking, oh, look, I have to check X, Y, Z box, and I'm waiting for this. You've not submitted the certificate, so I'm not going to approve the claim. Now, that is not to say that the claim wouldn't have been approved. Maybe in reimbursement, we could have made a case. If reimbursement also they raise the same requirement, I could have escalated it to the ombudsman. I could have gone to, represent the case, etc., help the customer represent the case. And we could have gotten this claim approved no matter what. But going to the insurance ombudsman takes 6 months sometimes. Just getting the case heard. That's a massive time delay. So now we go back to the customer and we are like, can we somehow get the report? Is it possible?
Okay.
Right. On the other end, we're also trying to figure out how to navigate this case with the insurance company.
But sorry, Shrehith, let me stop you there. But how do you navigate such situations in cases like these?
So obviously, most of our work happens with the insurance company only, right? And now, if the doctor says I will not produce a report, there's only so many things you can do. And the customer is also at not at fault here. How can they do anything if the doctor is not complying with the request, etc.? And they're right. The doctor has a fair point. The customer has a fair point. We are only thinking about optimizing for this situation. How do you get this case expedited? So that is when we get involved now, right? Because oftentimes we can perhaps talk to the insurance company, we can make these requests, but insurance companies will stand their ground as well. They say, look, produce this requirement, that's it. right? So then you have to speak to the higher ups and try and figure out a solution midway, right, where we can assuage your concerns, the insurance company's concerns, and also get the claim approved. So that's what we wanted to do. Now, our first response to the insurance company, our first defense, right, on behalf of the customer, was that, look, you are saying that I want to find out for sure that the person was not intoxicated. That is fair, okay? We have the MLC report. The MLC report doesn't make any mention of alcohol, intoxication, nothing. Talks about the accident, talks about the doctor's observations about the injuries, bruises. Where is the intoxication business?
That would be a solid evidence in itself.
Obviously, the lack of, any mention of intoxication should give you some credence to believe that the customer was not intoxicated.
Correct.
That in itself should be some evidence to claim that there was no intoxication problem and this accident happened because accidents happen, right? I mean, that's about it. But there was another defense that we put up simply because we realized that sometimes insurance companies, again, they want to be absolutely sure before they approve a claim, because once they approve a claim, they can't go back.
Correct.
So now the question was, okay, what can we do, right? And we said, okay, fine. If you want your concerns assuaged, let me talk to the treating doctor. Let us reach out to the treating doctor and let's see if we can get on a conference call with them.
Okay.
You speak to the treating doctor and you ask them questions about this case. You ask them what they saw, their observations on the day, etc. At least that will put your mind at ease.
Does this usually happen?
Usually insurance companies will say no.
Okay.
However, that is our job, right? To make sure that we put enough pressure on the insurance companies to at least get them to listen to our point of view, right?
Exactly.
That is why intermediaries are important. That is why Ditto exists. Otherwise, what are we doing here, right? It is our job to defend our customers' interests. So we had to then go back and sort of make these claims very clearly to the insurance company. And finally, insurance company said, yes, okay, look, we'll reevaluate the case. But we said you have to reevaluate very quickly because tomorrow, the customer is due for surgery. And fortunately, as I said, insurance companies are not also, I mean, they're not there to deny the claims per se, right? They also want to work with you, figure out the best way to proceed. And in this case, the insurance company went back to the drawing board. They figured out, both these evidences. I mean, even if they didn't talk to the treating doctor, the MLC report itself was enough to convince them that this person was not intoxicated and the claim was approved.
Great.
Now, luckily, I mean, fortunately for us, we still had about, a day, because even though the claim was approved on paper, we found out that there was another issue.
Okay.
When the individual had gone to when they sort of filled out the claim form, etc., they had intimated to the insurance company the name of the hospital.
Okay.
However, the insurance company, the agent that was working on the case, I think misread the name of the hospital, or at least it was this, there were two hospitals with very similar names, right?
Okay.
So they had assumed that the gentleman was sort of admitted in a different hospital, and the claim ID was generated against that hospital. So now we are again on a race against time to fix this situation. So we are talking to the insurance company. We are telling them, look, we generate a new claim ID immediately. Tomorrow the customer will be in surgery. So it's a race against time, right? Yeah. So our executives are involved at this point. Obviously, we don't have to get involved. We are trying to see if the case goes through. And right before sort of, the individual is due for surgery, the claim gets approved. They make a full recovery, and luckily for us, the claim gets approved. So yeah, it was a very interesting case. It was a straightforward case,
yeah.
But still, sometimes things can, any case can present interesting challenges. So yeah, I thought maybe our viewers would also like to know about this case. Yeah.
I mean, the turnaround time of all this, right? Like 48 hours. That was really quick.
Yeah. I mean, it is quick because you have to act quick in such situations. I mean, you can't waste any time. That's why we had to get involved. If we had 1 week, maybe we would have taken a step back, but we realized that this is, we have to get it done on a crunch. We have to escalate it as far as we can, if we have to escalate it, and we have to get it done ASAP, right? Because we're not waiting 6 months to escalate it to the insurance ombudsman. So that takes a lot more time. And I think the major takeaway for our viewers as well is obviously having an intermediary helps. It's something that we've sort of advocated ever since the inception of Ditto. It doesn't always have to be Ditto, right? I know local agents also doing the same for their customers. Maybe they don't have the same leverage as we do, maybe not the same degree of expertise in terms of case volumes, etc. But still, they can go to extreme lengths, and having an intermediary really helps. And the second thing is these procedural requirements, because insurance companies will always ask for these requirements. So whenever you're going to the treating doctor, whenever you are at the hospital, it always makes sense to talk to Ditto and ask them, look, I've submitted these reports. Do you think I need anything else? Do you think I should think of anything else? And maybe if there's something missing, right? Because insurance companies usually raise requests in sequence. So they'll raise a request now, and they may raise another request based on the original requirement and stuff like that. So we can help you better prepare for such scenarios, and obviously having the right set of original documents goes a long way. And in cases of accidents, things like MLC report, right, in this case helped us immensely to get the claim approved. Otherwise it would have been a very, very difficult scenario as well. So yeah, customers should remember that when they're in a hospital, when they're in such a situation, they have to sort of make sure to collect, preserve all the documentational support that they have at the time, so that they can then prove their case to the insurance company.
Great takeaways there, Shrehith. And this was originally like watching a movie, right through my eyes. Thank you so much for joining us, Shrehith. This was a really great insight into what goes in our Ditto when a claim is filed. So there you go, folks. This marks the end of this video. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we are coming up with a lot many more claim stories. So if you like this one, please drop a like and comment if you have any other claim stories that you'd like us to talk about. So until then, happy insurance hunting.